Hello friend, good morning. In the previous lecture, we had seen what is the language processors. In that language processors, we had seen the compiler, assembler, interpreter, etc. The compiler is a translator that translates the high level programming language code to the machine level programming language to create the executable program. The compiler check the error in a program and report them. All the errors are to be removed, otherwise the code will not be compiled and executed. This is the working of the shortly working of the compiler. What is the assembler? Assembler is used to translate the assembly level code to the machine readable form. The assembler two checks the correctness of each instruction and report them. This is the assembler, and interpreter is nothing but the step by step execution of a program. That means it will be executed the program line by line. So friend, these are the language processor. Now in the previous lecture we also seen what is the flowchart, how to draw the flowchart of a given sequence. Then what is the algorithm? How algorithm is nothing but the step by step procedure which define a set of instruction to be executed in certain order to get the particular output. So before we draw the first we draw the algorithm. First we write the algorithm of particular sequence, or we particular task. We say that the task is nothing but the recipe. If we have to do the menu of some menu, then we have to know the recipe of that menu. Then we can go sequentially to do that menu. So friend, first we write the algorithm, then we draw the flowchart for the simplicity of the program. Now the next topic in this chapter is the structured programming. The structured programming is similar to the procedural programming. You can also say it is the subset of procedural programming. It is used to improve the quality and the clarity of programming language, so the execution of the program become more logical and readable. By its name, you might have noticed that the programming languages which support the structured programming use the structured control flow which involve selection, iteration, subroutine and sequence block structured, and code of that programming language executed according to the structure in which it has been written. Friend, note that there are three types of programming languages: imperative programming languages, structured programming languages and procedural programming languages. The structured programming is the subset of the procedural programming. Like the procedural programming, the structured programming also follow the approach of top to bottom. That means the structured programming will be executed from top of the program to bottom of the program. This means that the code written in the structured programming execute one after the other in the sequential order from top to bottom. The structured control. The structured programming involves some element which are sequence, iteration, selection and subroutine. This control flow is most important when we write the program. First we see what is the sequence. In structured programming, the code is written in a sequential order. The sequential order is nothing but the linear order, so that the program can flow the approach of top to bottom. The sequence of the program also increases the readability, so the human can read the code and can tell what the program's supposed to do. Second control is a selection. The structured programming also consists of selection block such as if-else statement, where the execution of the next code depend on the selection statement. That means there is some condition that will be executed, and if the condition is true, then the block will be executed, otherwise it will be terminated from this block. The third one is the iteration. in the iteration we can repeatedly execute the block of code again and again. What is iteration? Iterative manner means the code is executed or block of statement is executed again and again with the help of the loop statement. So we can control how many times we want to execute the same block of the code. If we have no any condition, then it will be executed infinite time. So we have to break. For breaking that loop, we make some counter, or we give some condition to that particular loop, then it will be executed at that time, and when the condition is false, it will be exit from that loop. Now next is the subroutines. The subroutines are the functions, methods, procedures and subprograms which term as a single block of code. The structured programming in everyday life is, we discussed this about in the previous lecture, but we again discuss like the sequence. Sequence is nothing but execute a list of statement in order. Suppose for example, take the event baking the bread. Suppose we take the event baking the bread. So these are the steps how to bake the bread. Add flour, add the salt, add yeast, mix the above content, then add water, then knead the content smoothly, and then let rinse and bake. So these are the execution, or execute the list of statement in order. Now second is the repetition. The repeat the block of statement while the condition is true. So how the repetition will be done? For we take some general life example, washing the dishes. So stack dishes by the sink. Now fill the sink with hot soapy water. While more dishes, get the dish from counter, wash dish, put dish in drain rack and end while. So this loop will be continue up to what? Up to the dishes are empty from the sinks. So it will be wash and put dish into the drain rack. So here the loop is ended, and wipe off computer and rinse out sinks. So these are the steps for repetitions. Now this is about the information about the structured programming. Now we had seen, we are going to see the advantages and disadvantages of the structured programming. First we see what are the advantages of the structured programming. The first and most important advantages is it is easy to understand. The structured programming is easy to understand because it is readable, so it is easy to understand. It consists statement of English vocabulary, because it is written in the English language, so it contains the statement of English vocabulary. Now need less time to write the code, as we write the code in short or brief, so it need less time. Easier to maintain, it is easier to maintain, and can debug easily. It will be debug easily, and most of the high level programming language support this paradigm. So it is the machine independent, which means that structured programming written in one computer can run on any other computer. So it is machine independent because it is portable. These are the advantages of the structured programming languages. There are some disadvantages of the structured programming languages. The first disadvantages is it is the machine independent. So we need to translate translator or to convert it into the machine language, and the program depends upon the changeable factors like data types. Therefore need to be updated with the need onto the on the go. So these are two disadvantages of the structured programming languages. So this is about the structured programming languages. What is the structured programming languages? What are the approaches of the structured programming languages, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of the structured programming languages? Now in the next lecture, next video, we are going to discuss the programming concept. In the programming concept, we are going to discuss the programming process. That means how the program will be designed, how the coding, how the compilation, execution, testing, debugging, documentation, etc. Thank you, friend.